Hey everyone, Dave from Summit Racing here in the virtual Super Summit Manufacturers Midway, and we're visiting with Mike from Design Engineering. Mike, thanks for being here today.
No problem, Dave. Glad to do it.
So as we go through the virtual Midway, we're just kind of talking with manufacturers as customers might do at the actual show, and kind of very curious about some of the new products that you might have. And I know you have many of them, but I think there's 5 or 6 here that you're going to talk about today. Why don't we start with the exhaust wraps that you have that are new now?
Yeah, so we have a series of exhaust wraps. Some are new, some are wraps we've had for a while. But we have really 3 basic types of wraps, and I'll move them down here on some headers. Our standard wrap, which is a fiberglass wrap, and this one happens to be our black version. We also have it in tan, and this is a wrap that's been out there for a long time. We've been making this for 25 years now, and this is our standard, like I said, our fiberglass wrap, which is a good basic product. Most guys use this wrap and have great results with it. It's easy to put on, lasts a long time, and does a great job. Really, the whole thing about the wrap is to reduce the underhood temperature and to help keep heat off components underneath the hood, and heat coming into the compartment of the car. So the fiberglass wrap is great. We rate this wrap to 1200 degrees as a max temperature, and it does very well, and longevity on it's good. But we also have a wrap that we stepped up, and this is our basalt wrap, which we called our titanium wrap. And this is made from a different material called basalt. This is the natural color of the wrap, so there's no dye in this. The benefits to this is it's a higher temperature wrap, it's more pliable, it's easier to install, and it stays this color throughout the life of the wrap. So there's no fading, there's no deterioration of the color. This is probably by far our most popular wrap now, and it's been kind of a staple on the market now for the last few years. Last year, we introduced a new wrap called Exo Wrap. And this is a wrap that we designed mainly for the off-road market, guys with trophy trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles. And what was happening was, with our standard wraps, if you're off in an environment where it's getting hit by stones and rocks, mud, it's being washed, the standard wraps can deteriorate fairly quickly. So we worked on a way to try to resolve that problem, and this is what we came up with. So this is our standard fiberglass wrap, but we encase it in a 304 stainless sleeve. And what that does is it allows air to flow around the wrap. So when it does get wet, it dries very quickly. And the stainless also protects and holds the wrap together. We've got guys that have been running this wrap now on motorcycles and ATVs, Jeeps for well over 2 years. We started testing a while ago, and it holds up extremely well. So it's a great wrap if you're in kind of an extreme environment. The side benefit to it is, guys started looking at it and liking the way that it looks. We also have this in a black version, and a lot of the rat rods, the street rod guys, just like the way it looks. So they're using it for both heat control and aesthetics. So it's 3 wraps that we have, and we have in various lengths, various widths. So we kind of cover the whole spectrum from on-road to off-road and pretty much everything in between.
Okay, so you have the fiberglass, you said the basalt.
Correct.
So just kind of cover a little bit of the difference between the actual material itself and the difference there.
So fiberglass has been around a long time. It's made from glass fibers, just like any other fiberglass is. It's weaved into a material that we take and make the wrap out of. The basalt is made from a mineral. So it's actually lava rock that they crush, melt, and then strand into a yarn. And then we take the yarn and make it into various different products. We use that product in a lot of different items that we make. So it's got a lot higher temperature tolerance than the fiberglass does. So okay, that's its main benefit.
Do you have a recommendation then? I kind of see it as a good, better, best type of scenario. But is there a recommendation where you'd say maybe you want to go with that over the fiberglass, or?
Yeah, the fiberglass works well in your basic, hot rod situation. If you're not making a lot of horsepower, or you're under, you have a budget that you want to hit. The basalt is a little more expensive, but the longevity on it's better. Really, anything that's high horsepower, turbo, supercharged applications, we recommend the titanium wrap, and we've had the best results with that. The longevity on it's great; it holds up and works very well.
And the EXO, of course, sounds like for more of exposed applications.
Exactly, EXO is more designed for off-road, or if a person wants that type of look, but because it still does perform the same as the fiberglass wrap does, but the longevity on it's going to be much longer.
Okay. You mentioned the installation process. How is it sold in a certain amount of footage?
Yeah, so they're sold in rolls, and we have them in various widths. Um, Basically, our probably most popular roll for the street rod and hot rod market is 2-inch by 50 foot. So a 50-foot roll will do one side of a header. So
Okay.
really, you need two rolls to do your V8. That's kind of a general rule. Really depends on the length of the headers and everything, but that pretty much covers you if you get two 50-foot rolls.
Okay.
We also have it in 1-inch wide rolls for smaller tubing applications. A little bit easier to wrap around smaller tubing.
Awesome. So another thing I noticed you guys have now are turbo shields, or you have a new turbo shield. Turbos are huge right now. What can you tell us about those?
So let me show you our new turbo shield.
Yep.
And I've got a cutaway version and I've got a production version. So this is our new Gen 3 shield. And what I did was we looked at our shields that we had, and we're trying to make the best product that we can for the customer. We also look at cost, but our real main goal on this, a person invests a lot of money in a turbo system, and we want to make a product that is going to perform the best and last the longest for them. So we made a lot of upgrades from our previous generation of shields. First being is the outer layer. We now take, it's made of the same titanium basalt material as our exhaust wrap, but now we silicone coat it. And what that silicone does is it holds all the fibers together and allows a little more flex in the shield before the material starts to deteriorate. We also take our seams, and they're all double stitched using a stainless steel thread. So the outer shell is a very tough, very durable product now. When we get to the inner side or inside of the shield, we've always used a high quality silica insulation on the inside. So we still have that insulation on the inside, which you can see here in the white. But what we've done now is the inner layer, we've taken and added a silicone coating to the inner layer, and also it's a fiberglass stainless steel weave. So that silicone and fiberglass really holds that material together and increases its durability. And the last thing we did, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, I'm sure, but if you look on the inside, we've added a stainless steel mesh between that fiberglass and stainless silicone layer, between that and the turbo. So now you've got an outer layer that's silicone coated, a silicone insulation, an inner layer that's fiberglass stainless steel weave mixed together, coated in silicone, and then you have a stainless steel mesh final layer. So between that combination of products and the way it's put together in the stainless steel thread, we've got what we feel is the best turbo shield on the market now. Durability is high, performance is high, and it's really the kind of the Cadillac of shields right now.
If I'm hearing right, basically a 4-layer design. Is that
correct?
True?
Okay. 4-layer design.
And so you guys sort of picked up, basically off of your older generation design, learned a few things, and made it build it better than ever. So
yeah, we always try to improve on the product.
Is there anything people need to know about just the fitment of it, or is it just?
Yeah, so we do fitment in a few different ways. We sell them by turbo size, like a T4, T3, T6. But we also have a fitment guide on our website. If a person wants to look it up, and they can take measurements, and we can get match the shield that best fits that measurement. It's a pretty simple measurement around the outside of the turbo snail, and then the width of it.
Okay. Another new product, floor and tunnel shields. I can imagine that has its unique challenges as well. You're looking probably to deaden sound as well as keep the heat down. So what do you do for that?
Yeah, so our floor and tunnel shield we've had out for a long time, but what we've done now is we've developed a high temperature coating that we can apply to the outside of it now, that we can make it in a satin black version. It still performs very well, but But a lot of guys, when they're building their car, some guys like the shiny aluminum surface, on their firewall or where they want to use it. Some customers kind of want it more a little subdued, so they like the black finish, so it kind of hides the shield. So we're able to come out with it, and this is something we worked on for a long time to get a coating that can take the heat and is still flexible enough where it's not going to come, crack or flake apart on you. So you can bend this pretty aggressively, and it's going to stay together. You could fold it in half and develop a crack in it, but you rarely do you see a shield get folded like that. Most of the bends are radius bends, so they're not bad. And you can see I can flex this pretty heavily, and it doesn't crack the coating.
So what's the material on the underside then that you
So
use?
the underside of this one is a polyglass blend that we adhere to the back side of the aluminum. This is a 10 mil dimpled aluminum, and then on the back of that we do a high temp PSA, so pressure sensitive adhesive. So all you have to do is peel the backing off and stick it in place. But we also do a version without the adhesive on the back for someone that wants to mechanically fasten it to something.
Okay. So is it pretty much just a cut to fit then, or how does
Yeah,
it?
this will cut. Heavy duty pair of scissors cuts it pretty well. Shears will cut it. In a lot of cases, we can even, if a customer has a complicated pattern and they want to send us the pattern, we can actually CNC cut it for them.
Okay. And as far as heat and sound and all that, is there specs that it meets for the amount of heat, or how does that work for a tunnel shield?
So the radiant heat rating that we put on the floor and tunnel shield is 1,700 degrees, and that's leaving about an 1.5 to 2 inch air gap between the surface of the shield and the heat source. If it's in direct contact with it, you're looking more around 1,300 to 1,400 degrees direct contact. Now, the adhesive on the back isn't rated. It's rated at 475 degrees, but the adhesive never sees that temperature through the insulation. So that's how that works.
Makes sense. Yep.
So to get an adhesive, really, there's no really adhesive that'll work in those kind of temperatures. But with the insulation that we use and the reflectivity of the aluminum and the barrier that it creates, keeps that adhesive alive.
Okay. Well, I guess to go next, let's talk about boom mat, something that's been around for quite a while. What do you got for us new on that side of things?
Yeah, so here's a little, just a demo piece that we use at shows.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a piece of sheet metal that we mount the different products on it that we have. So if you look here, this is the sheet metal, and then we have our boom mat damping material. So this is a peel and stick product that goes down on your sheet metal and reduces those vibrational noises that come through the metal. So this is what gives you that nice thud sound when you close your door and makes the car nice and quiet on the inside. So the way we do ours, we have an aluminum facing on it. This is our standard one, which is a 2 mil thick butyl rubber. And on the back, we use a poly release liner. The big thing about the poly liner is, there's a lot of materials out there that use a paper liner on it. And I don't know if you ever tried to peel the paper off the back of a butyl substrate. It can be pretty difficult. The paper tears, makes it kind of hard to take off. This poly liner easily peels off. You can just peel it and it comes right off, makes the installation very fast and very easy. So this is a material that would go down against the metal in the floor of your car, inside doors, roofs, wherever you want to try to reduce that vibrational noise.
Okay. Now, boom mat's been around for quite some time. So how long has that been out? It's been a while. I know that.
Well, we've probably been 15 years now that we've had it out, and we do have some variations on it now. We have a 4 millimeter thick version, and we also have a version that we call our boom mat flex. That instead of an aluminum layer on the top, we use a poly layer that makes it really flexible, and it can get into some really tight curves and bends for an easier install.
Okay. Yeah, really to get rid of those rattles and squeaks and everything from the inside of the car.
Right.
Now, based on the different thicknesses, do you have any recommendations based on maybe size of the engine noise, anything like that? Or how do you recommend the different thicknesses?
So really the 4 millimeter came about from customers requesting it from us that were really in the audio competition side of the market. So they're putting in these massive stereos in their cars and doing competitions, and they were doubling up the layers of boom mat to really try to hold everything together in their car. And So we just made a 4mm version for them to make it easier for those guys to put it on. Our standard 2mm version really covers 95% of what most guys will would ever need. Now, as far as how much to put down, we don't really recommend full coverage on the inside of the vehicle. You can certainly do that, but you really don't need to do that. If you keep it to about a 50% coverage, and really in the areas where the sheet metal is flat and large and open areas, where you have creases or bends, the rigidity of the metal stiffens up, so there's less of a chance of the vibration causing a problem there. So you can get away with less cost and less weight by only doing 50% coverage in the vehicle. What we do recommend, though, for this really is designed, mainly for vibration. If you're looking for heat control, we have a product called Undercarpet Light that we recommend 50% coverage on the boom mat and then 100% coverage with Undercarpet Light on top of that. So you take your carpet, take the factory jute backing off of that, and this is a much higher performing product than the factory jute or the replacement jute that you can buy. And this is really what does the higher frequency noise control and the heat control. So by using these two products in combination, you really get a real solution to the heat and sound problem inside your car.
Okay. It's almost like a custom solution between the two. You can use a little bit of one and a little bit of the other, and
correct,
depending on what you're going for. Now, when you buy a boom mat, they're coming kits, correct?
So we sell it individually, and we do sell it in kits that we pre-cut that we're trying to, we're increasing our library of kits, every day as we go. We have Mustang, we have early Camaros, we have Miatas. So we have different number of kits. Now, the thing that we do with the boom mat, we don't really pre-cut the boom mat as much as sell it in the sizes that you really kind of need. So we'll sell it in strips, tell you where to put the strips down, sell it in certain size squares and tell you where to put those squares down. We also have the kits that include the Undercarpet Light, and that is CNC cut to fit your application. So it's got the holes for the seat belts, it's got the holes for the seat tracks is already in the product.
Okay, so making it a lot easier to install around little pieces, parts in the vehicle, and obviously, like I said, you said it's been around 15 years, and you continue to refine and develop on that, make it a little bit easier for the customers. Tell me a little bit about the oil rug.
So the oil rug is an interesting product, and that's something that we developed. And this is our smallest version of it. I think it's a 12 by 18 inches. So there's a lot of oil absorbent mats on the product, but one thing that we do, if you're working on say a cylinder head on your bench, or you've got an oil absorbent mat on your floor, your garage, most mats will absorb oil into them, and then eventually it passes through the mat and leaves a stain on your workbench or your garage floor anyways. It just slows the process down. So I do a lot of bench work, cylinder heads, things like that, transmissions. So I'm looking at it going, man, there's got to be a way to keep this from happening and make clean up a lot easier. So what we did is we took an oil absorbent mat and we bond basically a rubber layer to the back of it. And then we seal the edges. So we heat seal the edges on the mat. So what that does is that allows the mat to absorb the fluid, keep it from going through the mat, keep it from coming out the edges, and it keeps the fluid in the mat. So when you're done, you just pick the mat up, you put it in your plastic bag, and you dispose of it. So it's kind of a unique product. It works very well. A square foot of this product will absorb just about a quart of oil. So it's a very highly absorbent product. Matter of fact, I can do a little demo here, little mobile one. Probably not the cheapest oil to use to put down for a demonstration, but we can sit here and we're on our desk right now, and we can just pour the oil onto it. Let some of that soak in, and as soon as it soaks in, it'll be trapped in the mat. So you can see it soaking in and going down there. So it'll run on the mat, and then as it soaks in, it gets trapped in the mat.
So that's one of those things you kind of developed as a necessity, sort of as you're working. Why didn't somebody think of that? And so you guys came up with that.
Exactly. It's one of those things that you're putting a mat down to make cleanup easier and keep things neater. Yet at the end of the day, that mat everything just eventually soaks through it and gets in everything you're doing. So you can see right now, we just take the mat, hold it upside down, do whatever you want to. It just stays in the mat. So
very nice. I like it. It's like an impromptu to infomercial. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is a mat here that we soaked. We put just about a quart of oil into this mat probably a week ago, and you know, it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but you can touch it and feel it, and you know, you don't really even feel the oil on it. And that was inside this plastic bag for the last week, and you can see that there's no oil in the bag itself. So it's a unique product. We have it in a lot of different sizes. You know, sizes big enough to put underneath your car in the garage or your motorcycle. Works great as a bench top mat if you're doing servicing something on your table or your bench. But again, you know, that's the oil that went into that mat. It doesn't come out. There's nothing on the backside, nothing on the table, and it'll stay in there.
So you mentioned different sizes. So is it a one-time and go then, or can you clean it up?
Yeah, it's not something you're gonna get the oil back out of. So eventually, it's gonna get saturated. But a quart of oil is a lot for a size mat this size. So if you're doing oil changes, you know, a mat like this to have down underneath your oil pan, it's gonna last you quite a while. Again, you just, you know, once the oil is soaked into it, it's not going to come back out of it. So you can take it and throw it on your bench and put it back into a bag and use it next time. I guess eventually it's going to get saturated, but that'll take quite a while.
Yep. Nope. Great. Another great way to keep your shop and floor cleaner, your workbench top cleaner, or whatever you happen to be working on. Very cool product. Mike, anything else? I know we've covered really good products here, and I know on your website you've got a lot of new products listed for 2020. I saw some Jeep stuff on there. Anything else?
Yeah, the Jeep stuff, you know, we do headliners for the Jeeps, the JKs, the JLs, the Gladiator. And, you know, again, when you buy those Jeeps, they have a hard top on them with no real insulation in them. So we make a high-grade foam with a textured finish on it. We have 5 different types of finishes. And they're pre-cut to fit right in your Jeep. They had the adhesive on them already. So it's a peel and stick operation. We CNC cut those here. We take ours again. When we make a product, we try to look at it and go, how can we make it the best product that we can? So instead of just taking a piece of foam and square cutting it to fit into your Jeep and having the edges where the tops are tapered, we actually CNC mill the edge of the foam so it fits up tight against the top. You don't see a gap in it. And it just looks so much nicer than even the factory top inserts that Jeep sells. And it's quite a bit less expensive than the factory Jeep insert. So that's an extremely popular product for us. And Summit does a great job with those. So yeah, we're continually coming out with new applications for them.
I mean, that's another situation where you guys' years of experience of being in business allows you to develop things and learn from past experience. You get the right fitment, you use the right materials, and I think that really comes into play, especially for you guys. Mike, thanks so much for being here and taking the time to tell us about the new products. You can find all of those products at summitracing.com, of course, and be sure to check out some of our other videos as well. Mike, again, thanks so much.
No problem, Dave. It was great being able to do this. I'd rather be doing it at a live show, but this is the next best thing.
Absolutely. Got to take what we can get.
Yeah.